trains would eliminate at the junction with the main line Ashchurch. This was on the Midland's other main line, that from Birmingham to Bristol. It was a double junction, as, in addition to the line through Tewkesbury, which we've just seen, it was the point where an alternative route diverged, for Birmingham via Evesham and Redditch. A 264 tank, the regular motive power on the line, awaits the passing of an express on the main line. The tank will have a far easier task than the express, which has to climb one of the most formidable obstacles on Britain's railways, the Lickey Bank. It's really quite surprising that the Midland Railway, with its predilection for small engines, had the steepest mainline gradient in the country. One could say that here it could indulge in its taste for multiple locomotive workings to its heart's content. However, breaking with tradition, the Midland built the largest engine in the country, a legendary 010 nicknamed Big Bertha, seen here at the back of the 060 Powell freight. It was built specifically for banking duties on the Lickey, but in 1956 it was withdrawn and replaced by a British Railways Standard Class 9F. Number 92079 was allocated to Bromsgrove Shed in that year, and joined the clutch of LMS Standard GT shunters, which had supplemented Big Bertha. They were also to be supplemented and replaced by a number of Great Western designed Class 9400 pannier tanks by the end of the decade, an example of the British Railways transferring locomotives from their native regions. To service the banking engines, at the foot of the incline there was a network of holding sidings and locomotive facilities, including a coaling stage and water cranes. The shed itself was located on the other side of the line, behind the southbound platform of Bromsgrove Station, a few hundred yards to the north of these sidings. The departure of a northbound express is seen here as a rebuilt Royal Scot prepares for its assault on the Lickey after pausing to receive assistance from two panniers. As it passes through the station, it crosses a Bristol-bound express headed by a Jubilee, number 45694, Bellerophon. One fascinating aspect of banking at Bromsgrove was the way the tail-end Charlie would race to catch up with the departing train, although in most cases the bankers would buffer up before the train set off. Whilst uphill trains used the platform road, Bristol-bound ones had a through road. There were holding sidings for trains in either direction. The 9F and its Midland 10-coupled predecessor was adequate on its own for many semi-fasts under lighter expresses, as its power was nearly equivalent to a pair of tanks, and 39,667 pounds tractive effort. The GTs boasted 20,836 pounds, whilst the panniers amassed 22,515. Here's 67,535 pounds of banking power drifting down and then returning to work in the late 50s. Seven of the Hawksworth panniers, numbers 8400 to 8406 inclusive, were allocated to Bromsgrove from 1958 after the line was transferred from the London Midland region to the Western region, as was the Somerset Dorset. In that year, a number of regional boundary changes were made, ostensibly to tidy up areas of responsibility, but these didn't really take into account operating practices. The transfer of the Western's own panniers was a case in point, as, although they were undoubtedly extremely effective in the task set for them, the Genties remained. Bromsgrove Shed staff had to learn new types of machinery, and had to stock a complete new set of spares. This had already happened 2 years earlier when the 9F had arrived. In addition, the drivers had to learn the characteristics of the new steeds. None of these changes can be said to have led to greater efficiency. 1958 was also to see the first use of XL&ER locomotives over the route. This was the very first one of all, with Thompson B1 number 61155 in June of that year on the return of a Derby to Bristol train. The B1s will become regular performers up the bank for the next 7 years. The Jubilee, Gibraltar, follows through the station and covers the cameraman on the footbridge with its exhaust. A pair of panniers gives assistance and are themselves followed by a quintet of rated LMS locomotives ascending the bank with the greatest of ease. No train. The 9F then drifts back. 92079 was the regular engine and had a cutout on its tender top to ease hand coaling at Bromsgrove's crude coaling stage. Our final views here at the station are at the foot of the bank. Firstly, as another Black 5 makes the transition from the level track through the platforms onto the 1 in 37.7 of the bank itself. The signal indicates that the 9F coming downhill will take the platform road. 9Fs were now regular performers on trains as well as for banking.